Max Verstappen completes COTA perfection to win the United States Grand Prix and take a huge step towards the front of the title fight as the pressure continues to build on Oscar Piastri's shoulders. From Racing News 365, my name is Nick Golding and I'm delighted to be joined as always by lead editor Ian Parks, who has literally got a ball behind him. We'll be discussing a lot the main Red Bull driver in Max Verstappen. But before we get on to discussing Max's win, it's important to note that at Racing News 365 across the US Grand Prix and the Mexican Grand Prix, we are running a very special prize giveaway. If you'd like to win a special edition Racing Bull shirt signed by both HADJAR and Liam Lawson, all you've got to do to be with a chance of winning is be subscribed to this channel, RacingNews365.com. It is as simple and as easy as that. I wish you the very best of luck and breathe. Ian, I mean, what words can we continue to use for Max this weekend? He has won. Well, he claimed sprint pole, won the sprint race, claimed Grand Prix pole, claimed the Grand Prix victory. He's the only driver in F1 history to have done that since the sprints were introduced. He's done it now on 3 occasions, dating back as well to Imola in 2022 and Austria 2023. And he's done this at a time so important, so pivotal to this championship, because that gap before Monza was 104. After Austin, it's just 40.
Astonishing, isn't it? Just the most remarkable weekend from Max Verstappen. And just before we recorded this video, Nick, I was having a chat with a good friend of mine, Damon Hill, of course, not former, but a Formula One world champion. And he used the word phenomenal. That's basically the only word you can choose to describe the way Max is racing right now, because since that summer break, it's 3 Grand Prix victories and 2 second places in actual Grand Prix themselves. As you say, that gap was 104 points coming out of Zandvoort. In the space of 4 Grand Prix, he's taken 64 points out of Oscar Piastri. There are still 5 Grand Prix and 2 sprints to go, a grand total of 141 points. That 40-point cushion for Oscar Piastri is looking mighty slender right now. Bearing in mind, if we can, obviously, Lando Norris finished second in this Grand Prix at the Circuit of the Americas. He's now just 14 points, am I right in thinking, Nick?
Yes, correct.
Behind his teammate. This could very well go all the way down to the wire. And going into the summer break, I don't think anybody anywhere would have put any money on anybody else other than Oscar and Lando taking it to the wire in Abu Dhabi. You don't think anybody would have put money on Max Verstappen being in that reckoning going into the final race of the season. But right now, after the perfect weekend for Max Verstappen, he is right there, breathing down their necks.
I said after qualifying the sprint on Saturday in our Saturday F1 update that if you didn't believe it already, start believing now in regard to Max being in this title fight. And I mean, this just, downplays. It just cements that yet again. It's game on in this title fight. And the reason why it's so much now game on is, of course, as you mentioned, Lando in second had a race-long battle with Charles Leclerc, who finished in third. Leclerc started on a used set of softs, but got ahead of Lando at the first corner. Was in second for large portions before them. So it was a great little battle. Lando came out in second in the end, of Leclerc in third. Piastri started in sixth, only managed to finish in fifth. That's why we've seen this massive point swing of his title advantage being taken out effectively. This has been one of Oscar's worst weekends in a very, very long time.
Apart from the double crash in
Yeah,
of course. But I know what you mean, don't worry.
Yeah.
In terms of an all-round overall performance weekend between him and the car, because even in Baku, despite those double crashes, he actually showed good pace in that Knuckle 39. This weekend, pretty much zero pace at all across the various sessions. One of the major things for McLaren going into the Grand Prix was the fact that, like, naturally, they didn't take part in the sprint. They'd got no data to draw upon. And one of the major things around Circuit of the Americas as well is that, given the bumpiness of the circuit, given we've had previous disqualification for plank wear, then they got no data to draw upon as to where to run the ride height of the car. So quite naturally, they had to play it pretty conservative because, as Andrea Stella pointed out after qualifying on Saturday, even 1 millimeter of ride height difference, 1 millimeter in difference of ride height can mean milliseconds around this track. And that can play a huge part. So if they could have adjusted the ride height accordingly, knowing how the car had run in the sprint, then that might have given them greater performance going into the Grand Prix. But yes, for Oscar Piastri in particular, completely off weekend, one that he doesn't quite understand and needs to get on top of, and one that Andrea Stella has thrown around and said they are going to look into deeply. I did ask Oscar in the pen afterwards whether he felt, given that run of results that I mentioned earlier for Max Verstappen, those 3 wins and 2 second places in the 5 Grand Prix since the summer break, and the massive closure of the gap between him and Max, whether he felt the title was just starting to slip through his fingers. He's not at that stage yet, quite obviously, but he did turn around and say that he would rather be in the position he is at the moment than being the chaser as Max Verstappen is right now. Still an awful lot, though, to work on for Oscar, and in particular for McLaren, because Andrea Stella has additionally confirmed, reiterating the fact, as had already previously mentioned, that there are going to be no new updates on this car at all, despite the situation that both these drivers are in. You would have thought, oh, maybe McLaren just might try and find performance somewhere with a new part, new update here, but of course they all take time to introduce in the system. It's not something you can just throw onto the car and hope it works. This is it for McLaren. What you see with that car right now is what Lando and Oscar have got to put up with for the remaining 5 races and 2 spins.
It's actually a very good point you made, which we will discuss in the podcast on Monday, because we'll have a lot more time then, which will be recording in about 12 hours. It's worth pointing out before people comment.
I've got to get up early for that one.
You do indeed. I saw a couple of comments on Saturday's video that we didn't discuss everything. We are very pushed for time with these videos. So the incidents regarding Kimi Antonelli and Carlos Sainz at turn 15, and also the Ollie Behrman, Yuki Tsunoda incident at turn 15 as well. We will discuss both of those in the podcast on Monday, where we're much more relaxed for time. Ian, Ferrari, I mean, an awful Friday, a better Saturday, a really good Sunday. Got themselves right back into the mix for second in the standings. I'll go through the points in a moment, but a Leclerc podium in third, was challenging, of course, for second for much of the race, and Lewis in P4, but almost P5, a very late scare for him.
Let's look at Charles Leclerc first of all, Nick, and Ferrari for him chose a neutral strategy, whereas everybody was on pretty much new mediums around Charles. They put him on used softs, and that actually paid great dividends off the line, because we got a good run up the hill going into turn 1, managed to get past Lando Norris, and then it was a case of how long are those soft tyres going to last. I don't think anybody could have foreseen going into the race that the optimum strategy, which Pirelli had pointed out as starting on the medium, going on to the hard, but ultimate would be primarily starting on the medium and going on to the soft. For Charles Leclerc, it was starting on the soft and going on to the medium. He did a great job of keeping Lando Norris at bay until lap 21, I think it was, when Lando finally managed to get past, although Charles pitted immediately afterwards on the lap following to take on those medium tyres. And again, he was holding sway for the most part, but then on lap 51, finally, once again, Lando Norris managed to make a second overtake on Charles Leclerc into turn 12 to take that second place. But Charles doing well to cross the line in third. So all round, a really good performance from Charles Leclerc. As for Lewis Hamilton, really poor start if we look at that. Pretty much, I reckon, going into the entry into turn 1, he was probably about 9th or 10th place. But because of the line he got, he managed to sweep around the outside of a number of cars and came out of it in a really good position, to such an extent that he crossed the line in 4th position. However, I should say, a very, very close scare for Lewis on the last lap. Oscar Piastri took 6 seconds out of him on that final lap. They finished within a second of one another. Lewis reported apparently what he felt was a puncture. Ferrari looked at it, they could see nothing. So who knows what occurred on that final lap for Lewis Hamilton, but it was not, as he suspected, a puncture anyway. But he managed to get that fourth position. And could those 2 points that Oscar's missed out on there between fourth and fifth? Who knows? What's the phrase, Nick?
What is it?
Only time will
tell. I need the hat. I'll wear that for the podcast on Monday. And that's now back-to-back Grand Prix where Lewis has had last lap scares. It's also worth pointing out that with Lewis finishing in fourth, he's become the first driver in F1 history to score over 5,000 points, 5,004.5 to be precise. So cap off. Well done, Lewis. That's a record I don't think is going to be beaten for a very long time. To quickly look at
he has taken a new record, though, Nick, hasn't he?
Oh, I wasn't going to say it. Do you want to say it?
Yeah, basically, he set an unwanted record at Ferrari by going 19 Grand Prix since the start of a Ferrari career without taking a podium. So, yes, that's the first time in Ferrari's history they've had a driver who's joined the team, and for the first 19 races of their Ferrari career, that particular driver hasn't scored a podium. That driver is now Lewis Hamilton. Overtakes the record previously held by Didier Pironi.
There's a flashback to the past. To quickly go through the top 10 from the United States Grand Prix. Max Verstappen was victorious ahead of Lando Norris. Charles Leclerc in third, Hamilton fourth, Oscar Piastri fifth, George Russell in sixth, Yuki Tsunoda in seventh, Nico Hulkenberg in eighth, Oliver Behrman in ninth, and Fernando Alonso in 10th. Ian, amazing stuff. As always, you've got a media session to get off to. Ian and I will be back on Monday for the podcast with our colleague Sam Koo. Be sure to let us know your thoughts on the US Grand Prix below in the comments, and also let us know some questions you want us to answer in our fan questions video before Mexico. Please do smash the like button and subscribe to the channel, not only because you want a chance of winning that Racing Bull shirt, but also because you enjoy our content. Thank you for everything this weekend. From Ian and I, we'll see you later. Bye, guys.
And my friend behind me, of course, thanks ever so much for watching all our updates over this fantastic Austin Grand Prix weekend. Take care as always, folks.